Fox News Alert, I'm John Scott in the Happening Now studios. The Real Story with Gretchen Carlson will be along momentarily, but we are following this news along the east coast of the United States. Really, a plane that took off from Rochester, New York some time ago, single engine, very capable turboprop-powered airplane. Unknown how many people on board at this point. Here's a look at a TBM 700 Cicada. That's the kind of plane we're talking about. Very fast, very capable, very expensive, but this one apparently is in trouble. No word from the pilot for quite some time. A couple of F-15s chased it toward Cuban airspace, had to break off because they didn't want to violate Cuban airspace. And that plane has now crossed over Cuba, is on its way to Jamaica. Our Leland Vittert is also on this story and has some new information for us now. Leland.
John, we've been going through the flight path of this plane. It took off a little bit after 8:30 Eastern there in Rochester, Minnesota. Rochester, New York. We don't know how many people were on board. It headed south there en route to Naples, Florida. And you see there that dog leg where it turned, which would have been turning to the left, turning east as it would have headed down towards Naples. That happened right at about 10 o'clock Eastern, 2.5 hours into the flight. At that moment, the plane also descended from 28,000 feet to 25,000 feet. This is coming from the radar data that we're getting from FlightAware.com, and that is at the moment that the plane turned and began to descend down to 25,000 feet. Why that happened, whether they were told to do so by air traffic control or whether the pilots initiated that on their own, we don't know. But we do know that since about 10 o'clock Eastern, a couple of hours now, 4 hours and 15 minutes since that turn, it has been flying at roughly the same heading, 167 degrees, and right at 25,000 feet. Just now, though, if you look at the track there over Jamaica, as it has now exited Cuban airspace and now headed right now over the island of Jamaica, it appeared to be making a couple of turns there on that track, possibly going down, possibly going up a little bit as it is near entering Jamaica. We also know that the F-15s that had been trailing it as it went down the eastern seaboard all the way past the Florida coast over the Bahamas, you see there, the F-15s allegedly saw that the windows were frosted over, which would indicate possibly some kind of pressurization plane problem inside that aircraft. And you can see it's a very sophisticated, very expensive aircraft, but certainly not one that is immune to any kind of pressurization problems. We also know, John, that the F-15s broke off that chase before it reached Cuban airspace. And the last we've heard from our folks at the Pentagon is those F-15s then returned to base in the United States to refuel. Whether or not they are going to try and pick this plane up now south of Jamaica or not is yet to be seen. John?
All right. I'm sorry, Leland Vittert there, helping us cover this very strange story.